All right. Yeah, get rid of that. Okay. All right. That's fine. Yo, what's up, Cortex? How's it going? My new favorite bald streamer. I'm honored. Okay. Yo, what's up, Sigetterman? How's it going? I brought I brought extra water this time. And by extra, I just mean I filled up my entire water. But how's it going? Thank you for the hydrate. Don't mind me noticing something mid-message. What'd you notice? What happened? What do you mean? Did you lose a bet? No, no, no. Read the title of the stream. It'll all make sense. Um. Yeah, no, that's just like a joke, obviously. But yeah, no, it was gonna happen. I don't remember if I said it on stream or not, but uh, the idea was to shave my head next time I needed a haircut, and if you remember, my hair was pretty long, so I don't remember if I said it on stream or not. I feel like I did at one point. Um, wait. Sorry. So there's a new version of the Undertale mod tool that came out a couple of weeks ago, I think. I'll stick with the one that I've got. I don't wanna overcomplicate things. I might use it next time. So I'll like install it off stream. Yo, what's up, Glitch? So like you've done it before, so you don't have to do it when it inevitably happens. Yeah. I'll show you guys some pictures actually. Now your glasses are the highest orange thing on your head. Also high. I appreciate the order of those messages. Pointing out the height of the most orange thing, or the highest orange thing on my body, and then greeting me. I appreciate it. Um, Open. Okay, so let me show you some pictures. There's not a whole lot, but so yeah. So this is I took a couple of before pictures. So this is probably what you're used to, right? Like my face kind of head on. Remember to put sunscreen on your shiny head? Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that. I'm gonna have to be extra cautious because I'm like super pale. Bathroom tour finally. Right, yeah. Um it's like it looks fine, right? Like you can kind of see like up here in the front it's getting a little bit thin, and then top down you can definitely see like this line in the middle especially, and then the stuff on the sides is like super thin. And then side shot, you can kind of see like this little dip in the back here, right? Like everything else looks pretty fine. The front's a little bit thin, and then there's that dip in the back. That's what it was. And like this is with my hair like being super long too. So like some of this is like coming back and covering it up, but like yeah. That's what it was. So I figured next time I need a haircut, I'll just shave it all off. And I kind of needed a haircut, so very bald r/bald thing. Yeah, pretty much. Imagine being bald. Yeah, cringe. Imagine not having hair on your head. Oh wait. 7 watch stream streak. Nice. New emoji material. Oh yeah, so I've also got um I also made this. So we're gonna update the branding. It's gonna be cool. I was waiting until stream to do that, but it'll be fun. All right, let's actually open up this guy. Let me. Ooh, that's not how you spell custom. Let me show you where I left off. Oh, the reason that I wanted to potentially switch to the newer version of the Understand Mod tool. Let me actually bring up the patch notes. Because this is like, there's a feature that I really, really wanted. Where is it? This guy. Go away, bookmarks. Where is it? This right here. Added zoom functionality to the code editor. Thank you, Cheesecake2960. You are amazing. This is the feature that I wanted the whole time. Cause like, look at it. Look at how small the code is. Look at how small the code is. I can't zoom in. I would love to be able to do that on stream. So I didn't find out about this until like earlier today, so I'm not using that version yet, but I plan to. Oh, my ears, I forget every time that that's so loud. Yo, what's up, Skell? Why bald? Why not bald? Too bald or not too bald? That is the question. 3 stream streak? No way, such a big number. Nice. What were you at before? I feel like you were up to like 7. Go ahead and replace that drawing that is your Twitch profile picture. So the problem is, it's like, I don't know what you used to make it, but like I'm definitely not an artist, so I can't just like do the same sort of thing that I did with this, where I just like replace some of the pixels with with like background and other stuff. Like this is, there's a lot more stuff going on there, so it's kind of harder to like replace that. I tried to. I thought it would be hilarious, so I tried, but I couldn't. If there's orange text on your screen, do your glasses just filter it out and it's invisible? No, it just becomes more orange. That's what the glasses do. So it like enhances the orange. So I get to unlock orange too, and you guys have to settle for just regular orange. Yeah, yeah. Unless, of course, you also have these fancy glasses, in which case we're part of an elite club. That sub is a whole baby. I'm sorry, what? Oh, they subscribed for 9 months. Yeah, I guess so. Why is your stream audio always a bit low on desktop? Is it different on mobile? It should be the same. 2 new emojis added to Discord? Oh no. Wait, let me look at this. What is over there? And why stone? Amazing. Can I not like look at this? Okay, well, I don't know how to. Whatever. I don't know how to win big in the emoji. I forget. It was just some free drawing software. Oh, okay. I thought they would work like noise canceling headphones, just filter out the orange. No. It filters out blue. It enhances the orange. Okay, so where we left off was here. If this little menu goes away. Excuse me. So this area is reserved for hats. Those will be happening eventually. And then here, I don't know, like maybe I should draw an outline around the buttons that are selected, but like name is currently selected, so it's got the purple background. And then I can switch between all of these, and this little arrow here will like point to the color on the thing. I currently don't have a value slider, so the x-axis is the hue, the y-axis is saturation, so you can't actually adjust the value, but you can, if I make the leaderboard bigger so you can actually look at the colors, you can select a color. And it updates. So cool. This is an incredibly cursed looking snail, but it's in the game. Woohoo. So yeah, I need to add the value slider, I think is the first thing that I'm gonna do. Oh, that's right. I wanted to look at the VODs from like 2 streams ago because I can't remember exactly how I wanted to do this section. Because I want the value slider to be underneath because I think there's enough room for that. And then I want to make these buttons like closer together because they're a bit far away. I don't feel like they need to be that far away, so basically just make them wider so that the gaps in between are smaller. And then I know I definitely wanted some text here to display the numbers, but I don't remember what else I wanted to do with that. Not sure. For the value slider though, I don't know, like I do already have like a function to work with these kind of sliders, but I feel like it would make more sense to have some kind of graphical thing like this, where it's like super dark on this side and lighter on this side. If I open Paint, kind of like this, right? Like you see where the slider goes from white to black, something like that maybe. I'm not opposed to doing that. I think for now, let's just stick with this like bland slider just because I already have some stuff set up for it. And then maybe later we can make a texture for this. I think that's a good idea. Okay, close, close, close. All right. Yes, that way. Sorry, I didn't read chat for a while. What are you referring to? I don't know about texture. It has to be like the selected color. What do you mean? Oh, so yeah, because like it changes depending on the hue. Is that what you mean? I mean, like, oops. I'm fine with it being just straight up white and black. Because like this version changes with the hue, but what is happening? Hang on.
Fuck Microsoft! Okay. Fuck!
Okay. I don't know. Cause like what I could do is the same thing that I'm doing with all the other sliders, which is to just have text above the slider to indicate what it is. But I feel like if I make it like a black and white texture, then people will kind of get the idea just based on that, and then I don't have to add a label. Maybe that's a good idea. I don't know. We could just we'll add the slider that doesn't have the gradient on it. What? Oh, it's this one. I'm dumb. And then we can try out the texture version and we'll see what happens. Am I just weird for almost never having issues with Windows? Yes. I don't have a whole lot of issues with Windows, but the issues that I do have are like very frustrating. So like that, I mean that bug in MS Paint is like pretty irrelevant for my use case, but there are some things that are like super annoying. So like if I go into like build here, right, no, actually okay, I don't think I have a setup to demonstrate this, but if you're in like a regular command prompt, not PowerShell, if you're in a regular like CMD command line, you can run an executable by just typing the name of the file. In PowerShell, you have to do like / and then the name of the file. Or there was like some weird quirk where there was a difference between command line and PowerShell in how they execute stuff. And it was like super annoying because I was like switching between the two and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't running my files. Anyway, that does remind me. Let me pull up. What is going on? I did not mean to do that. Let me pull up Stonebot because I forgot to do that. Speaking of PowerShell. Ooh, that's fine. Okay. Okay, we should have a bot now. To be fair, command line and PowerShell are two very distinct services. Yes. However, they're both kind of defaults on Windows. Like, I think PowerShell is now more so the default, but command line is also a default. So it's like kind of confusing having two different terminal programs that are like Windows standard and they operate completely differently. Okay, so where are we So here we're drawing the text. Let's go here. So this is where we're drawing that little arrow that is indicating like where on the color picker we have selected. So I don't remember. Draw slider. Oh, that's what I called it. Was I calling it a slider before? I don't even remember what I was calling it. Okay, anyway, so if I remember correctly, this is X, Y, width, and then a number from 0 to 1 to indicate like how far along the selecting thing is. So let's grab selected value equals color, get value of the selected color. So the value, oh shoot, I don't remember if it's between 0 and 255 or 0 and 1. Because I know hue and saturation are both 0 to 255, but I don't remember if value is different. Get value. Okay, it looks like value is between 0 and 255. Cool. Command line exists because it's always been there, and always having it there is great for compatibility and reliability. Also because it's goated. WCMD. Yeah, I used to prefer CMD, and now I'm kind of like, meh. I don't care. Whatever does the job. So we can just say selected value divided by 255, and that should give us, so selected value is a number from 0 to 255 divided by 255 brings it into the range of 0 to 1. Now let me figure out what X and Y I need to put it at, and I think it's the center is where it measures from, not the top left. So this color picker is at a Y of 590 and a height of 380. So let's do 590 plus 380, I don't know, plus 20. We'll make it 20 below the color picker, and then the X value is gonna be this like 530 plus 380 on 2. I think that's not what I meant to do. All right, let's see where that ends up. I should ask, who is this? Kelim? How Will You Snail in Batch is going? Wait, what? Is somebody recreating Will You Snail in Batch? Okay, we should make the slider wider and also down a little bit. So let's add 40 maybe, and then we can make this the same width as the color picker, so 380. X value looked good though, as far as I can tell. I refuse to believe PowerShell exists. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, kind of, for it to exist. It's just like, okay, that's a little bit too low. If we go up by 10 pixels, maybe it looks fine. Minus 10. Yeah, because like, I don't know, you want like a command line program that has a bunch of fancy features, and I think that's what they were going for with PowerShell. It's just like, I don't know, why would you make PowerShell instead of just adding a bunch of stuff to CMD, you know? I'm sure there's a reason for it. That doesn't look centered. See that? Like the distance between the bottom of the color picker and the top of the knob is smaller than the distance from the bottom of the knob to the bottom of the window. By like 5 pixels, if I had to guess. Plus 5. Let's see what happens. Half real. Willie Snail and Batch is kind of a meme. Oh, okay. Make it as wide as the square because it would make my brain happy. Yeah. So the knob actually goes past the slider a little bit. So like the knob itself doesn't line up, but at least the slider does. That looks centered to me. Vertically. Does it look centered to you guys? What do you mean PowerShell and CMD take up the same slot in the toolbar as if it's the same program? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of confusing for no reason. They kind of merged it and you can switch it. Make it so the slider is smaller so that the grabby thing is aligned. I think it would be better. It is centered. Okay. I agree. Yeah, let's do that for now. Let's do that for now. And then when I implement the texture that has like the gradient on it, then we can make it a little bit different. Okay, let me open up the create where we've got this draw slider. How wide is the knob? 10 pixels on either side, it looks like. So if I take the total width and subtract 20, I think that should be good. But yeah, recently I've been preferring PowerShell, just because I feel like it's slightly easier to work with. That looks like it's lined up. Oh yeah, this is a slight quirk. Because the hue like wraps around to 0 if you go like all the way to the right, it looks like the thing teleports. Which I feel like it's fine. But it does look a little bit funny. I don't know, maybe I should look into making it so that doesn't happen. Have you beaten Portal 2? Yes. Very fun game. I don't remember the last time I played it though. It was a while ago. I'm pretty sure I have both Portal games. Okay, why is it doing that? I don't remember. It's here, right? So what are we doing? Does it just consider 255 to be the same number as 0? That wouldn't make sense, right? Because it should wrap around at 256, not 255. Let me see what the hue is actually like getting calculated as, because this make color HSV function might be doing some weird things with it. So let's just see how that works. What if it stopped at 254? Like, it should already work by stopping at 255. So I'm kind of curious why it's doing that. So if I click, like, over here. Yeah, see, it says 255, and then it wraps around to 0. Does that make sense somehow? There's no way that makes sense. Shut up. And it's not like, it's not doing some weird, like, floating point thing where it's like 255.0001. I mean, I don't know, maybe it is, and it just doesn't show up when I display it. But like, yeah, if I change this to 254, it should basically be the same thing. I do wonder if the 254 idea would do anything. I mean, this should work. I would assume so. If it does, then we can make it like 254.9 or like something really close to 255. What? So it prints out 254, 254.09. Oh, now it's 254.00. No, but now it's 254.11. It should never be above 254. Am I like doing some weird? Is this just me not understanding how HSV color works? I feel like this is just me being dumb. No? It's 0.09 more than it should be. Now it's 11 or 0.11 more than it should be. Does it matter like what saturation it is? Like if I'm all the way down here, now it wraps around. What? It says 254 and then it wraps around to 0. Okay, so the saturation has something to do with it, no? If I go like all the way up here, now it's not even 254. It can't even reach 254. But if it's all the way down here, then it's 254 and some change. Okay, so this is just me not understanding how saturation affects hue, I guess. How in the world am I supposed to account for that? How does HSV color work? HSL and HSV. Wikipedia save me. I feel like it's the machine. What if it's a low level problem? I don't think so. I mean, it might be like a weird quirk in the way that GameMaker implements it. Basic principle. Hue is angular. So is it, yeah, so is it doing some weird precision thing? Because like if you do visualize it in this way, then like the higher the saturation is, the farther away it's gonna be, or like the bigger the radius of the color is, right? So that might change the rounding of the hue. Because I don't think this is I don't think it works the same way as like RGB, where you can just arbitrarily pick any three values. Like they do influence each other, right? Saturated color. Motivation? Yes, please tell me the motivation of the color red. Oh, that's interesting. Make it 254 and code it so that anything above 253.9 is displayed as 255 and no one will know. But like, hang on, is there a function? Yeah, so no, those are gets. There's not like a set. There's just a make. Maybe this has some indication as to what's going on. To permit the user to make their own colors, this particular function takes three components: the hue, saturation, and value, also known as luminosity, to create the color desired. These values are taken as being between 0 and 255, so you can make 16,777,216 colors with this. Below, you can see an image of how these components look when separated. Okay, sure. The image on the left is a breakdown of the individual components of the function, and then on the right is an illustration of how changing these components affect the end color. As you can see, even without changing the hue, it says 0 at red. As you can see, even without changing the hue, we can dramatically change the color with the two other settings, with saturation making the color tone go from 0 to 255, with the value making it go from darker to... okay. But that's not actually how it works. I can't just arbitrarily pick any value from 0 to 255. Because if I do that, you change it. What am I missing here? Hue is real. Glad to know that. So this, yeah, this just means that we can enter like a decimal number. I'm pretty sure, right? It's not, they have a different type for integers. Why does that take me to the same page that I'm already on? Give everyone random RGB values at every color and change input. No one will notice. I think some people might. Can we not floor anything above 255 to 255? Well, so the problem is that the number that I'm calculating is correct, right? Like that's what I'm showing in my little pop-up is the number that I'm calculating. So if I click over here, it's 254. That's the number that I'm inputting into this make color HSV function. And then afterwards, I'm using the color get hue to get the actual hue of the color. And that's returning 0. Or like with some weird like floating point number. So I'm doing the right calculations. It's just when I use this make color HSV function, it's changing the numbers. And I don't know how it's doing, like in what way it's changing them. The issue is after picking. Yeah, sorry. Hue is real. But why would the hue be different? And if it should not be, why do we need to get it again? So like I assume yeah. Oh, hang on, what's make color where is it? RGB. What is this? So these are reals too. But it rounds it, right? Yeah. So internally all colors are stored as a single integer, where like the first couple of bits are the blue and then the green and then the red. I actually don't remember what order. But it's either like alpha, red, green, blue, or like alpha, blue, green, red. Something like that. But it uses a single number where a certain number of bits indicates the red, blue, and green. So because it's stored as RGB, but I'm trying to make the color using HSV, there's going to be some rounding errors. Right? Because it doesn't actually store the values as a decimal number. It stores it as an actual integer between 0 and 255 as RGB. Oof. How do I deal with that? You cracked it? I cracked something. Yeah, because if we go back here, like these are the actual values. So these are just default colors. These are the actual integer values. Right, you can see red has just a value of 255. Yellow is 26635 or 65535. Right. Maroon is 128, which is half of 255-ish. So it's stored as just a single number. Yeah. No, that's the color of the draw. Merge color. That's... I mean, I could just manually store the colors using HSV. But then I would have to do that for like all 5 colors and then translate them back into RGB every single time I wanted to apply the new one. Which, because of some quirks, I have to do that every frame. So I don't really want to do that. I cracked something. When you look disappointed, you look like a really old man. Got the scrunched up forehead wrinkles and everything. Wait, do I really? Hang on. They're not that bad. Maybe when I like put my hands on my forehead, maybe, but it's not that bad. I'm already bald. How much older could I look, right? I don't know. Maybe I just have to accept the fact that it's gonna do that weird teleporting thing. I really don't know that there's a way around it. Cause like I would have to somehow adjust the RGB values in such a way that the hue doesn't wrap around. HSV to RGB conversion. Okay, not exactly what I asked for. I want like the formula. Conversion formula. I mean, yeah, okay. Yeah. See. Why is it like this? Why is it like this? Okay, dude. You know what? It's I think it's fine. I think it's fine if it wraps around. I think it's okay. I think that's probably acceptable. It's annoying, but like that's just how GameMaker stores the color values. I don't know. I could make it more complicated if I wanted to, but I don't feel like it's worth it. Remove the skin. Oh, right. Yeah, no. Yeah, good point. I should have just removed my skin too. You know, when I was taking a razor to my skull, I should have just pushed harder, you know. Yeah, okay. So now I just need to make the hitbox for it, I think. What if we just make the max 254.5 and fake the 255? But like even then, it'll wrap around. No? Yeah, so like 250, what did you say? 254.5. So if I make that the max. I'm not adding that quote. Out of all the out of context things that I say, you're not going to add that one? Yeah, so like down near the bottom it teleports, but up at the top it's fine. That right, like that's what I was saying is that like the lower the saturation gets, the higher it rounds the hue. So like we'd have to make it like even 254 I think doesn't work, right? 254.25 and everything above we just display as 255 and brush it onto the rug. Yeah, so like even 254 flat still teleports when you get all the way down here. Like it's fine here, and then if you get too far down, it goes. I don't know. Maybe we could do the math to figure out what value this needs to be exactly. But like, if it's gonna round up to something above 255 anyway, like as the closest approximation, then I'm fine with it wrapping around. Like the little arrow is gonna look weird, but I think it's fine. 253.5 and you have a deal. See, like I feel like at that point we're like, I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter too much because it's just for visuals, but I feel like we're messing with the values a little bit too much at that point. Okay, so we need to adjust the hitbox for this thing. Okay, so that's for the actual color picker. Do this. What values do we actually need here, though? So this is for the leaderboard background alpha 15305. Background alpha. What? Oh, that makes sense. 125, 35, 30? I'm giving an extra 30 pixels on either side of the slider? That seems ridiculous. But okay. Alright, so the slider is at these coordinates with this width. I'm just going to copy all these values over. So I have them here. Okay. So the lower end needs to be whatever 720, and then we want to subtract half of 360. And then we also want to subtract another 30, just as a little bit of a buffer. And then same thing for the right side, except we're going to add all of these numbers. And then the Y, what did I do for the Y value? it's just the same Y, but like plus or minus 30 probably. Yeah, looks like it. So it's just this minus 30 and then this plus 30. So that should indicate, or that should detect where the mouse is. Then we can actually say oh, this is gonna be weird, huh? Ooh, I don't actually know how to do this. $200, 155, 25.552. Sure. Think about the math equations. Thanks, Stonebot. You've always got my back. I think I know how to do this. Okay. So we've got the new hue and saturation here. Before I was just hard setting the value to 255, but we actually need to fetch that from the current thing. So I actually need to say, what was the name of the function? Color get value? Value? Okay, that looks right. Of this racer dot name color. I have an extra parenthesis here. Okay. So we get the value. We can just say we could make this all one line if we wanted to, right? Make color HSV. We give the hue, the saturation, and then keep the value the same. Right, saturation, hue. And then we don't need that. Something like this, right? So then I'll just grab this, pop it into each one of these. I don't need this thing anymore. This is eye color, this is body color, this is shell color, this is outline color. If we use that hue value that sometimes goes above 255 to make the selector, I made it so that if it goes above 255, it just sticks to where it would be at 255. I feel like I'm going mad. I mean, again, the issue is that we are calculating the correct value. It's just when we pass that correct value into this make color HSV, it's translating it in the best way that it can to RGB. Which, if the hue that we enter is too big relative to the saturation and the value, then it's just going to pick RGB values that happen to result in a hue being 0. Right, so I don't know, we could make the maximum selectable hue something really low, but then, you know, that kind of puts limits on what color you can pick. They're not super strict limits, but like if it's gonna try and pick the most accurate RGB representation of the hue saturation value that we chose, if it ends up being that the best approximation results in a hue being 0, I'm fine with that. Insert there's nothing we can do meme. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, I think all of that works. So now we basically need to do the same thing, but we don't need to get the hue or the saturation. We actually need to get the value, which is going to be a very similar equation to like up here. where it's yeah, I'm just gonna grab that equation. Formula. Okay, so why am I subtracting 35 from the mouse x coordinate? Because that's the very far left side of the slider. What? No. That what? Did I do my math wrong? Is it 20 instead of 30 that we're giving on either side? I mean, I guess it's 20, but like... Okay, hang on. Let me do this so I can figure stuff out. Twitch is doing that thing again where it's like jittering my chat up and down every 20 seconds. It's kind of annoying. Also, it is funny. It feels like I have ghost hair. Even just this stream, I've like put my hand on my head expecting like to run my hand through my hair, and it's just not there. So this is at 160, right? This is at 160. That's the center of the slider. The slider has a width of 250, which means on the left side of the slider, it's 125. It's 160 minus 125, which is 35, no? Oh, I'm dumb. 35 minus 15 is 20. Okay. It is 20. It's not 30. Okay. So I actually need to add 10 here, subtract 10 here, add 10, subtract 10. Because I thought it was 30. I feel like I'm not explaining this well enough. So it's very difficult to actually like pick the far left or the far right side of a slider if you only allow the hitbox to exactly match the length of the slider. So I'm adding an extra 20 pixels on either side of the hitbox so that it's a lot easier to actually set the value to the maximum or minimum possible. So that's what I'm rambling about here. I was trying to figure out whether the buffer on either side was 30 pixels or 20 pixels, and I did my math wrong earlier. It's actually 20 pixels. So this value here is the left side of the slider, which in our case, let me just save that, is what? So here's the slider. So it's 720 is the center of the slider. It's got a total width of 360. So this is 720 minus half of 360. Okay. And that ends up being 540. Okay, so then this number is the total width, which is 360. That's going to put the value in between 0 and 1. And then we want it to be in between 0 and 255, so we just multiply it by 255. Okay. Now we can do something similar to what we did earlier, except instead of copying the value, we want to copy both the hue and the saturation because we have just assigned the new value. So instead of get value, this is get hue. Instead of get value, this is get saturation. And then I can do a very similar thing to what I did before. We'll just copy paste. There's probably a better way to do this, but who likes doing things better when you can copy and paste? Okay. Surely it'll work first try, right? Congratulations on the lost weight, technically. It was not it was a decent amount. It covered a good portion of my bathroom floor. We should hop on a multiplayer race through every SE level. This will, of course, be a quick event that will take 10 minutes max. Is there a person that's beaten every SE level? I assume there is. Okay, I can adjust this value. Shell. Okay. Let's make it a bright blue. Oh, look at that. Okay, the arrow's kind of yeah, it's doing its thing. Okay. Yikes. Okay. Oof. That's you can see it moving around there a little bit. Yeah, so that's another slight quirk of the fact that GameMaker doesn't handle HSV. I'm starting to think this whole color picker was not actually ideal. Just get Toby Fox to post about HSV and GameMaker will add it overnight. Yeah, let me just contact Toby Fox. I'll just call him real quick. We're in sunk cost territory. We can't back down now. I'm thinking we can, though. I'm thinking actually maybe we can, though. Is there... What if instead of hue and saturation, we made the X value be red and the Y value be blue, and then this little slider down here could be green? Then we could make it RGB. that would work, right? Or we just make a 3D projection in this little area here, and then we could do RGB all in one little widget. Rosalinor has, on the technicality of not counting any levels that have yet to be placed on the list. The last update was half a year ago. Oof. I will update the list eventually. Yeah, oh, that's weird. Okay, whatever. No, I'm kind of upset that the main speedrunning leaderboard is not being updated. Cause like, I'm kind of proud of the Splitty world record, but it's never gonna be on the leaderboard now. Would it not be possible to somehow manage RGB with a color square with some weird math? You also have the option of having 3 sliders. Yeah, so the 3 slider idea was what we wanted to do initially. And then I'm pretty sure it was Sig Enderman that had the idea for this color picker, which I thought was a good idea. And I didn't realize at the time the road bumps we would run into. I thought it was fine, you know. GameMaker's got a built-in function that converts HSV into a color. I thought it'd be great, and then I didn't consider the fact that they actually store it as 3 integers instead of like an actual color. I feel like it is possible to manage RGB in a 2D plane somehow, but I don't know how. Why never? Have they completely locked it? No, there's just nobody updating it. It's been 4 months. And every time it gets mentioned, they're like, yeah, the queue is pretty long. And then they never mention whether or not they're actually going to start verifying runs. So, I'm just going to assume that the leaderboard's dead. Somebody is welcome to prove me wrong, but yes, I'm the evil man. Was there not a magic thing that picks the color from an on-screen pixel? That's definitely somewhat appropriate, but it could work. Is Orange Monster dead? Mirhan is a mod. They just don't verify runs. I think the last time they checked, there were like 30 or 40 things in the queue. In the speedrunning queue, not the SEQ. I mean, I think we're gonna have to go with the RGB sliders. I don't really see a way to salvage this, you know? Also, I gotta be honest. My new haircut is very freeing. Cause like, yeah, I did this whole, you know, leaning on my cheek thing. Normally, if I were to do that on stream, I would be immediately self-conscious of like the patch of hair that was like right here on my widow's peak, or the lack of hair rather. But now I don't have to care. I can just do this and not have to worry about that. It's so nice. Cause like it hit me right just then when I, you know, did that. I was like, oh shoot, now I'm self-conscious about my hair, and then I had to remind myself that I don't have any anymore. It's very nice, I gotta say. Yeah, haircut. I did cut my hair. I don't know. Color picker square. I feel like we did this in a different stream, but I just want to make sure I didn't like miss anything, because like there's this, right? But this doesn't, this is just hue and saturation. This is not value or luminosity or whatever. No, Shutterstock, go away. Like this doesn't seem bad. Something like that, maybe? Yeah, here we go. We get the cube render. Then we can pick RGB all in one thing. You can right click and drag on the cube to rotate it, and then you can click somewhere on the cube to get an RGB value. Oh wait, that wouldn't work though, because you would have to be able to pick somewhere inside the cube, which is not really like. We could make it really cursed, right? So we make a cube where like each axis is an RGB value. You can click somewhere on the cube to set the selection to a surface, to like a point on the surface of the cube, and then you could use the scroll wheel to like burrow into the cube at the angle that it's currently facing to select a color from inside the cube. I feel like that's a good idea. Somebody should make that. It's not going to be me, but somebody should. Yeah, I mean, like the color picker, like, or the dropper, I guess it's called, where you can like pick a color from on screen. That's not a bad idea. It's just like it doesn't allow for a whole lot of other colors, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like we could have something similar to this, except so like we would squash it down and then above here, right, would just be like 255 saturation, and then you could start getting into value. It's really unfortunate that I deleted the code that generated this texture. Like, we could make it work, right? Maybe. Because you don't need saturation and value in the same color, surely. It would be so much easier if we just did the 3 sliders, though. That's the annoying part. I would really like some kind of visual thing that you can click on like this, but the 3 sliders is just going to be far easier. Which is incredibly irritating. Quite a bit, but that's because AndreMake submitted a ton of levels from one singular campaign, and how am I supposed to pick 1 or 2 to go on the list? Stone, believe in self-harm. Is that a request? Are you asking me to believe? Believe in the self-harm. The self-harm being development. The other option that I have been seriously considering is that, like, the game in general is already fairly dark. What if we just don't have a value? What if we just do what I was doing earlier and just hard set it to 255? And then we just don't allow people to make colors darker than this. Thoughts? Like, the darkest color they'd be able to pick is like this blue. Our snail's been blazing it. You know? A necessary addition. I'm pretty sure this game already has a self-harm feature, and it's just that. I wouldn't need to add that into the mod, I don't think. Third option, no snail. Okay, I just had a really terrible idea, and it's not terrible because it's bad, it's terrible because it would be such a pain to implement. But what if we made camouflage mode where it would it would take like a little snippet of the square that the snail is at. It would take like a snapshot of the background. It would take like the average color, and then it would set the snail to that color. So like as you move around, it would like it would like sort of camouflage the snail to the background. That would be very cursed. At this point, I'm just speedrunning because I've ugh. I don't want to think about the color picker. I don't want to think about the fact that I have to undo all the work that I just did to get the color picker working. I feel like Sig Enterman saying "oh" 3 times was an indication that they have an idea. Don't worry, Stone, at least you're getting paid. Right, yeah. I mean, I guess we just go with the 3 sliders, right? The RGB sliders. But it's like the selection square is so cool. Obviously, the other option is to just manually keep track of the 3 values. And then anytime we actually have to use the values, we would have to convert it. Right? So like we would manually... Could you... Shut up. Sorry. We would just like manually keep track of the hue, saturation, and value, and then anytime the game actually needs to use that to display something, then we would translate it into RGB. But that's kind of a hassle. And also, the multiplayer portion of this already sends color data as a single number, right? Like as it's stored internally in GameMaker. So if we change the layout of that data, that kind of makes things messy. I don't want to make the 3 sliders, man. Don't make me. The 3 O's was in reaction to your idea. Oh, okay. Third option looking kind of juicy. We just delete the snail. Is that even a thing we can do? Hang on. Game objects, player. Oh, okay. A ton of collisions. Okay, sure. Draw. Okay, nobody look. Exit. What if the single number was reversibly derived from the values? I'm not sure what you mean. Alright, we have gotten rid of the snail. We still see the eyes and the eye stems? I don't even know what they call it. So I suppose the answer to will you snail is no. Because there now is no snail. Oh. Okay. Let's let's maybe undo that. Okay. We straight up implemented ex novo. What is that? The online thing expects one number, and the number we send is just 3 values, but as one number. I mean, it's kind of hard to make 3 floating point numbers fit into a single number, I think. Actually, what does it send it as? I forget exactly what it sends as. Is it this one? It's a U32. So we have 32 bits to send 3 numbers, basically. I mean, if we just round everything to 255... then that's what? That would still leave us with 8 bits? Is there such thing as an 8-bit floating point number? I feel like that's not how floating point numbers work, but it would be funny. You're underestimating how stubborn I can be? I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Unless I am a fan. I mean, like... Okay. This is a fairly cursed idea. But what if we take the hue, saturation, and value, and we store those as if they were RGB, right? So hue would be the red, saturation would be the RGB, green, value would be the blue. And then we would just have to, like, unpack it and then retranslate it anytime we wanted to like use it. Right? So then like so like here. So name color, instead of equals HSV, we would just say RGB. Right? Same three values. Except like instead of get value here, we would say we would say get blue. Get blue. Right? So we would just pretend as if hue, saturation, and value were RGB. But then when we actually go to like draw it on the screen, we would like reverse it. This is so stupidly complicated, it goes full circle. So like racers. So like here where we're like drawing, or you know what? I mean, we would have to mess with that, but for now, let's just do custom step 0. So here we're actually assigning these colors. So instead of assigning them directly, what we would do is we would say like hue is equal to color get red of this thing, and then we'd have the same thing for saturation and value, except instead of get red, this is get green, and this is get blue, and then we would set this to color make HSV. Is that not what it was? Was it make color? Make color HSV? Yeah, there we go. Hue, saturation, value. Right? So like it's stored as RGB, but if we actually wanted to use it, then we would have to like unpack it and then remake the color as HSV. It's smartly complicated? I don't know about that. I don't know if I would go that far. Mind you, all of this just so that we can implement the color picker. I'm going to say that this is not worth it at all. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say maybe we should not complicate the entire color system just so that we can make a fun looking UI. Did I actually change anything in here? I don't think I did. I didn't change anything there. Here I think I did. You're right, yeah. Okay. I think that's fine. It's certainly complicated, but it works. Technically, yes. I don't think it's a good idea, though. Just because it works does not mean it's a good idea. Okay, I also need to make this not be get blue, get value. Okay, I think I undid that wild idea. Oh, we're just gonna make 3 sliders, man. We're just gonna make 3 of them. It's frustrating, but it'll work. Man. It's gotta be the 3 sliders. I feel like literally anything else is overcomplicating it. Because like that's the way that if I could change the way that GameMaker stored colors, it would be so much easier. But I can't do that. I'm sad now. It's just all of this, right? I mean, the selected color's fine, because we still do need that. Just not this color picker anymore. And then over here. I feel like there's a smarter way to do this bit. Yeah, so for now I'm just going to get rid of this. Goodbye. These buttons are fine. Okay, let's see what it looks like now. Twitch is doing that thing again. It's messing with my chat. Twitch, please stop twitching. Goodbye, UI. Unfortunate. Okay, well, now that we're going with the 3 sliders, where should we put the sliders? We now have a ton of room because we don't have a giant color picker anymore. I mean, like selecting these, that still works. We could put them all in one line now. They don't need to be like stacked like this, right? So now I don't have to do that like really weird math. I just went to put my hand on my hair again. It's gonna take a while to get used to it. It's so weird, man. Okay. So, I think what I want to do is I'm going to put all of these, you know what? Paint, help me here. So let's just assume we're working with the second half or the bottom half, right? Because like right now we've got like 3 sliders for the leaderboard, 3 sliders for the other players, hats, we're going to be over here. We split it in half, and then we've got like player, whatever, the edit player button, and then we've got like the 5 buttons, right? Okay, let's get rid of all of this, and we'll just assume that we're only working with the bottom half here, right? So we've got the word player up here, we've got the edit button, and then the 5 things here, right? So we've got all this room to work with. Perfect. So I think what I want to do, where's the eraser? That eraser is microscopic. How do I make it bigger? Don't take that one out of context. Selection. How do I make big? Brush? What? Oh, is this thing? Oh my word. Thank you, Paint, for being enormously intuitive. Okay, anyway. So I'm thinking we make the buttons huge. We split it. This is gonna be weird. Into like, why is it so thin now? Come on. Come on, man. We split it into like 5 sections here. These are not evenly spaced at all. And then these are gonna be the buttons. Right, so this is for like the name. This is for the eyes, this is for the body, the shell, and the outline. And then we could have, like, depending on which one you select, there could be like a black outline around that button. Right? And then we'd have I'd like 3 sliders and then a label next to each of them. That's like, red is this amount, blue is this amount, green is this amount. Do you think that the labels should be on the right of the sliders or on the left? And then these sliders would take up like all the available space, basically. I will gladly not take it out of context. Thank you. I appreciate that. Holy fat sliders. I mean, look at how much space we've got. Look at how much room there is over here. What else are we going to put on this menu? We basically doubled its size compared to the previous version of the mod, which was just like this part. In-game chat? Yeah, no. I'm not implementing an in-game chat using UDP. And I'm also not setting up a second TCP connection just for the in-game chat. Proximity chat. Yeah. No, that's called Discord. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, we can make the buttons pretty large to take up a bit of space, but I mean, the sliders, like, you've got 255 different values to pick from, you know? I feel like making the sliders big is not that big of a deal. That's called Discord. 255 centimeters of slider. I don't know. Did you guys ever answer my question? Labels on the left or labels on the right? This is going to be like red colon 255. Right? Should that be on the left side of the sliders or on the right side? We got 1 vote for left. You know what? I can make a poll. Create a new poll. Where should slider labels be? Left, right, you've got 2 minutes. And you're allowed to vote multiple times. There we go. Let's tie this. I don't care, just don't label anything and don't label anything and let me tinker at stuff until the correct stuff happens. Okay, noted. I will keep that in mind. However, I also have to keep in mind the user experience of everybody else. And I'm not super confident that everybody else is going to be as curious and willing to solve a puzzle just to figure out how to make their character change color. I have 3 viewers right now. I'm pretty sure one of those is Stonebot. And there are 5 votes in the poll. Cool. So it was a good idea to let multiple votes. I like that idea. How tall should these buttons be? Because we can make the text super big, right? We can actually make the text of player be super big now that we have all this space. Actually, now that we have all, you gotta be kidding. How did you? Sigetterman contributed 1,600 channel points to tie the vote 3-3-3. Dude, what the heck? This is all Sig's doing, by the way. Good way to spend my tens of thousands of points. I had 0 votes. Okay. Well, I'll go with left then, because that was the first thing that was said. Great use of the poll feature. Okay. Anyway, like I was trying to say, now that we've got all of this space, instead of the word player, what if I put the actual name of the person playing, right? Because, like, if I have the name, the Great Stone the Thirdington, it still says player on this UI. I feel like it would be cool if it like actually had the real name, because there's enough horizontal space for it now. Previously, there was definitely not. And then instead of saying edit name, I could just have the word edit. And because it's right next to the actual name, it would be implied that you're editing the name. Even more horizontal space. Phenomenal. Great idea. Where am I drawing the word player? Am I blind? Other player. Oh, here it is. Okay. This racer dot name, I think, is what that is. And then the edit name button is going to have to be changed, but let me just see. Did I actually start the thing? I did. Okay. So if I edit my name and I say the Great Stone. That's right. Okay. Yep. It is centered horizontally, so the word "the" is like off screen here. Okay. So let's draw set H align. When we are drawing the name, that will need to be FA left. That's FS left. Okay, and then we shall reset it to center after we're done. Okay. So we draw the name. Now we need to change the location of the edit name button, which is going to be rather irritating if we have it like aligned to the left. Okay. The original idea I was having was that the edit name button would be like tied to the left side of the name here. So if I put a long name that is very long. So like this edit name button would like moved over here, right? It would be like dynamic with the actual length of the name. But that's kind of annoying because the hitbox for the button, like this button is not an object. It's not an actual object that holds state. It's literally just a rectangle that I'm drawing to the screen in this particular position. So if I make it variable, I would also have to make the hitbox variable and then do some weird calculation to determine where that needs to be, and I don't really want to do that. So maybe we put the edit name button underneath? To simplify the code, let's replace every number with 0. That's a phenomenal idea, actually. Let's just do a search for every instance of the number 1. Is there a search and replace? Oh, you know what? It's like a script, right? Utility? Find and replace. Here we go. We'll just search for every single digit. Yes, absolutely. It does not need to be multi-line search. Yeah, sure. No. All right, let's search for all instances of any of these numbers. No, okay. Don't do that. Yeah. Okay. Dynamic is a scary word. It is indeed, especially with the way that I'm doing UI stuff. Hyperlink player name that is also a button. Ooh. I mean, even then I'd have to do some math to figure out how to draw the actual rectangle for the button. And also I would have to change the hitbox. Not sure. I've made UI work on different screen sizes with Pygame. Yeah, like I'm not opposed to making it dynamic. It's just that the easiest way to go about doing it is to do the calculation for the hitbox twice. Once for the actual hitbox and then once for the visual to where to draw the rectangle. Which isn't a huge deal. It's just kind of annoying. I would rather make it static, but I feel like if it makes more sense from a user experience perspective, then I don't know. Because the other thing is that then the buttons moving around depending on what your name is, which could be a bad user experience. So maybe I just like force it to be on the far right side of the menu here. But then I feel like if you make a really small name, then it's like kind of disconnected, and I would have to keep it. I would have to keep the text edit name, because if you make a really small name and it just has the word edit here, and it's like all the way over here, then it's kind of hard to make the correlation that that's how you edit the name. Let's let me save this so that it actually aligns the text properly, and then let me see like how much space a max length name takes up. It's no biggie, it just takes a few hours. The hitbox is just as wide as the menu, so you just pray no one clicks there for no reason. Right. Yeah, for sure. Oh, why? Oh, because I'm not properly calculating the origin anymore. A long name that takes a lot of space and is probably gonna get cut off because this is far too long to display anywhere within a reasonable amount of screen area. Okay. So imagine this is like shifted to the left so that it's left aligned, right? That seems like there's just enough room for this edit name button to be on the right side. I feel like that's not a bad idea. I feel like it's not a bad idea. Okay, let's change this X coordinate to be I don't know, 30. Let's try 50. See what 50 does. Yeah, but it's less buggy than most code, and those few hours are spread over the whole development time, which is not really that much. Oops. Okay, that seems like it's more reasonably placed. A long name that could go on for hours if someone were to try to pronounce it. Okay, maybe it needs to move left just a smidge to actually fit the button in here. Let's maybe figure out where the button should go, though. Let's draw the button further to the right. Wait, what? That's... oh, here. Okay. How wide is it? 960. So let's do like 960... 960 minus... I don't remember. How wide is the button actually? Go back. It's 300. So it's 180 pixels wide. 180. So if we go 960 minus 180, and then give it a little bit of padding. So we'll say minus an additional 20. And then for this one, we'll do 960 minus 20. And then here we can say the average of 760 and 940. Okay, that should have moved the button over to the right. The hitbox has not moved, but the button should appear on the right side. Is there a limit to the length of the name? Yes. You can put in a maximum of 20 characters, although the leaderboard will only display 10. So the other 10 you'll only see like when you're actually close to the other person. Okay, that seems like a reasonable place to put it. Let's see if I can... Okay, here's the hitbox. Another long name that will likely be too long for this particular use case. Okay, yeah, it does get cut off a little bit here. Is it the H that gets cut off? I don't even know what letter gets cut off at. Maybe we should test that better. Okay, let's set this to 20. We'll move the name over to the left a little bit. Okay. And then, where's the hitbox? Here we go. Let's do this. 0. Okay, so that should be the maximum number of characters that you're allowed to enter. And that just barely fits. So that seems good. Right, like if I try and add another hello onto the end, it just gets cut off. It doesn't do it. Yeah, it's not there anymore. Okay. That seems good, no? Seems good to me. Squid, shut up. Okay, that's fine. It looked off vertically. It looked like these weren't like centered properly, but I think that's just because it has to make room for like some text that might hang down, like your G's and your P's and stuff. Okay, let's move the hitbox over because I kind of like that. Where is the hitbox for this guy? So we didn't change the Y, we just changed the X. 300, 5, 6. Oops. Wait, what? Why is the hitbox for this 3? Oh, it's 304. Okay, I'm dumb. I looked at the wrong numbers. Sorry, my bad. 760, 940. 760, 940. The Y should still be the same. Okay. Yo, what's up, Literate? How's it going? We figured out that the color picker idea is not going to work. So we're changing up the UI here. Okay, the highlighting doesn't work, but clicking on it should still work. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, if I click over here, it doesn't do anything. if I actually click on it, it does. Okay, so let's change the highlighting then. Edit name. Yeah, so this is 760 and 940. Okay, so now the hover thing should work. What's the new plan? It is this. So we've got the player's name and then the edit name button, which we've decided to put all the way on the right side. And previously, it would just display the name or the text player. Even if you change your name, it would still display the text player. But now that we have all this extra room, we can get away with displaying the actual player's name. So we're doing that, and that's why we're moving the edit name button all the way to the right so that we have enough room to display all the text. Then you've still got your selectors for the name color, the eye color, the body color, the shell color, and the outline color. And then you've got these 3 sliders to pick the RGB. And then off to the left, you're going to have a label that tells you what the exact RGB values are. Now, what we were doing previously was we would have the a color picker texture, and you would click inside of a square to pick the color. But because of the way that GameMaker stores colors, it doesn't work. It has issues. Okay, yeah, so now hovering over the button works. And if I change this to a very long name with an even longer explanation, I can only enter 20 characters, so it's going to get cut off, but it actually displays the name. So if I put my actual thing in there, it says done 50. Phenomenal. And so these are the selecting buttons. They were stacked like this because again we had a giant square off in the right side. But now that we're gonna put all the buttons up here, we can make the buttons bigger and stuff. Sick. Indeed. Okay. I think it's a good idea to make all of these selecting buttons here the same width. So then, should we actually do it like this, where it's basically a giant rectangle, and it's just there's a little bit of an indication vertically to separate each of the buttons? Or do we actually want 5 individual buttons that just so happen to be lined up horizontally? Okay. I just saw the bigger version of these emotes. Great, thanks guys. What is this one? The event? I don't even know what that is. This emote is named Disstone Pointed. And it's just me with my face in my fingers like this. Whichever works. Spone. I feel like one of them's better though, right? One of them's got to be better. I feel like if they were just individual buttons, it would look weird. No? Am I overthinking this? It would look weird? Okay. I'm glad somebody finally said it. That makes things significantly easier, because if we just make this one giant rectangle, instead of individually drawing every single button, I can just draw a single rectangle. No, I can't do that. Yes, I can. I can draw a single rectangle, and then whenever you hover over one of the buttons, I can just draw a second rectangle on top of it. Instead of determining which color the button's rectangle should be, I just simply draw one rectangle for every button, and if it's not selected, I don't draw a second one, but if it is selected, then I draw a second purple rectangle on top. Literate, you're a genius. Okay. So the edit name button, that all can stay. What we want to do now is we want to draw not a round rectangle, but just a regular rectangle. Draw a rectangle starting at 0. I don't know the Y, but the other X is going to be 960. And then false, because it's not an outline. I think that's what that means, right? I don't remember. Anyway. Actually, we need another number here. So this is going to be like underneath the edit name button, which is currently at 590. So let's give a padding of like 20. So let's say this is at 610. And then it goes down to, how tall is the button? The button is 3550 pixels tall. So we'll say 660. And this needs to be dark gray. So let's say draw set color dark gray. Oh, it needs C underscore dark gray. Okay, and then we can we'll just keep it like that, right? Just keep it like that. Let's just see what that looks like, shall we? Literate, you are a genius. I mean, yeah, it was your idea, right? You came up with the whole one rectangle thing. Genius. Does Literate actually know how to read, or is it just the name? Bruh. Draw a second purple rectangle. Literate, you're a genius, yes. Yeah, I hope I know how to read, unless I was 2 years old. Yeah, you have to be 13 in order to make a Twitch account, so I think it's pretty safe to assume that... What? Is it width and height? Is it not x1, y1, x2, y2? Is that how draw rectangle works? Draw rectangle. That is not how you spell rectangle, but it figured it out. It is x1, y1, x2, y2. What? What did I do wrong? X of 0, x of 960. That works fine. 610. I'm dumb. It should be 615 plus 20. And then this is 615 plus 20 plus 50. Okay. Now we should be good. What's your hardest? I'm working on House of Leaves. Like an actual House of Leaves? Or is that like a level or something? You meant GD not reading. Oh. House of Leaves is a book? Future Funk 2? Jumping is stupid. The Giver. I think I watched that movie. I don't think I ever read that book. All right. That looks like a rectangle. Okay. Let's maybe make the rectangle taller because we've got a ton of room. Actually, do we have a ton of room? I forgot to check. We only need enough room for 3 sliders, basically, and some text, but that's like whatever. So we've got quite a bit of... Yeah. We only need 3 sliders, like, in this entire area here. Because these buttons are just going to be put inside of this bar. So we can make these... bigger. How much bigger? Let's make it twice as bigger. Is it this one? I think it's this one. So let's add another 50 to this. Okay. Now we can probably try slotting the names in here. Yeah, let's we'll worry about doing the math for drawing the highlights elsewhere here. Wait, what? Did I get rid of something on accident? I got rid of the eye color. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So I'm only going to worry about the labels for now. We're going to put like separators. So like vertical rectangles. For now though, so these need to have the same Y value as the, ooh, that is the wrong syntax for that. So it's going to be right in the middle of 635 and 735, which is, you guessed it, 685. Okay. So now we need to do what? We need to find... We need to split up the entire width into 5 equal sections. Which means the width of each section is just 960 on 5. And then we need to move over by half of that. So this is going to be... half of 960 on 5. I think. And then all the other ones we can figure out here in a second. I just want to make sure I'm not getting too far. House of Leaves is a book that is designed to make it as difficult as possible to read. It is a moderate challenge to understand so far, but not too tough, but actually reading the text is brutal. Interesting. That does not seem like fun. I don't know. Maybe it is just for the sake of the challenge. I have not read a book in a long time. I did just buy the first couple, I think they're volumes of One Punch Man, because I was really into the show, and then I heard that they completely butchered the most recent episodes. I think I watched like the first 2 seasons, and then they just like completely brutalized the show afterwards. So I'm kind of curious how they, or like what the source material was. Doesn't help that it's one of the first books I've read in a while. Oh no. I'm jumping from a mango-shaped space to House of Leaves. Early on, there's a footnote that lasts several pages. Why? I mean, sure, yeah, okay. There's a new show from Glitch. Another one? Didn't they start like a that one show with like the princess, the lost princess or whatever? Well, pilot. Oh, so it's a flying show. A show about flying. Clearly. Yeah, so this is 96 plus whatever 960 on 5 is, which I don't actually know. Then this is 288 plus 960 on 5. This is 480 plus 960 on 5. And then this is 672 plus 960 on 5. Okay. It's Game Overs? Game Overs. Game Overs Glitch was one of the recommended things. Oh. Wait, the creator is Ross O'Donovan. I know who that is. And that looks cool. I might check it out. Oops. Haven't seen the original, so I'm going into the Glitch version blind. Wait, is it like a show that already existed? Do you guys perchance remember the 21st night of September? I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember why I laid these out in this way. I think. Because it was like, I wanted the 2 longer words at the end because they were like the buttons that were underneath, but now it just looks weird. I feel like I should switch I and shell. I feel like name is fine as being first. Outline is fine as being last. Kind of want to switch I and shell, so let's do that. Shell I. You should react to it live? Yeah, no. I'm not gonna do that. Copyright and whatnot. Okay. That looks a little bit better. Now it doesn't look as strange. Let's... Should I draw this? Trying to figure out what order I should draw everything in. I think we should draw the separators. No, because I want the separators on top. So I should draw the background. So it should be like, so here's that giant rectangle, right? And then here I want to draw the, like when you hover over the buttons and they turn purple, I want to draw those in this area. And then after that, I want to draw the separators. And then after that, I want to draw like a highlight, like an outline to indicate which one is actually selected. You just need to make it transformative. Yeah, but I feel like that kind of ruins it. No? Like if you're trying to watch something for the first time and you like have to keep in mind that, oh, I need to like pause the video every so often and like make a comment about what's going on, I feel like that kind of ruins the experience. Like unless that's just like naturally how you watch new things, in which case, you know, it kind of makes sense, but I don't want to like force myself to do that, you know? Either way, good night, everyone. I'm off to my sleeping rectangle. Have a good night. I appreciate you being here. Sleep well. Yeah, so I want to draw the hover highlights. So I already have kind of the expositions. And by that, I do not mean a character explaining the plot. I mean the X coordinate. Yeah, so I want to check to see if GUI mouse X is greater than or equal to... so 96 is the center. So this is 90. Oh wait. Yeah. So it should be 96 minus 96. It's 96 divided by 96, or 96 minus 96. I wonder what that could be. GUI mouse X is less than or equal to 96 plus 96. Okay. And then I actually need another if statement here to check the Y value. So if GUI mouse Y is greater than or equal to, what's the top of this rectangle? 635. And the GUI mouse Y is less than or equal to 735. Okay, then I want to do this stuff. Stay locked in. I'm locked. Okay, so if that happens, we want to draw a rectangle. What kind of rectangle do we want to draw? A purple one. Yeah, so let's draw set color C purple. Okay, and then the rectangle we want to draw is at 0, 635, and then 96 plus 96, whatever that number is. I'm not going to do math right now. 735, false. Okay. Does the UI still work whether or not post-processing is on? Yes. I recall the window stretch to fit the screen while on has black bars on the sides, so I'm wondering if that affects anything. I have not noticed any weird stuff going on with the UI. Like, I can resize the window and stuff, and everything stays, you know, relative to where it's supposed to be. Like, if I, you know, mess with the sliders, still works. Oh, let me mess with a slider that actually matters. Probably hard to see that on stream, but make it bigger again. Maybe. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so this still works. And then, yeah, if I hover over this, now it highlights it purple. Full screen instead of window? Oh, okay. Should still work. But we'll see. I mean, I can try. No, that doesn't work. That button, like, it like awkwardly like puts it like this. I mean, it's still like can still mess with the values. Right, the hovering still works. So now if I make it this one, display full screen. Yeah, the hovering still works properly. Messing with the sliders still works. Yeah, seems like it's fine. Post-processing off. So if I turn it low, you're saying there's some kind of an issue? I am not seeing anything. If there's a bug somewhere that you can recreate, let me know. Or I guess that I could recreate. Because I will do my best to fix it. Okay, so we basically just do this for every button. I don't remember how many there are. 5? Who can count that high? You'd have to be like a math whiz. Okay, so this should be 192. 192 plus 192. This would be 384. This is 384 plus 192. This is 576. 576 plus 192. And 768 plus 192. This is just 768. Okay. Let's see what happens here. I'll check with the version release right now on my device. Okay. Yes, it would be kind of hard to check, like, if you're using a monitor that does not have the right aspect ratio. Let me see if I can get it to work on my second monitor. If I make it full screen here. Seems like everything is working, although my second monitor might have the same aspect ratio. I don't remember. Put it back over here. This was a hypothetical question that I haven't tested, but since the effect I described isn't even happening on yours, I realized I should probably do it on mine. Oh, okay. But yeah, so I mean, the rectangle is still showing up in the wrong spot, but you can see it. Now when I hover over any of it, that rectangle pops up. So let's figure out where I actually need to put it. So this should be 192, and this is 384. This is 384 and 576. 576 and 768. 768 and 960. All right. Maybe Glitch has a virus. Yeah, a virus that only affects Will You Snail. Also known as the Will You Snail race mod. Okay. Yeah, saying that we can hover over any of these. And if I get the pixel just right, I can make two of them hover at the same time. That's gonna be a problem. Let's maybe figure that out. Okay, we'll just cut off the equal sign on the right side here. There we go. Problem averted. I'm a genius. Okay, so next thing we want to do is draw in the separators. So let's first draw set color to C black. And then let's draw a rectangle. So this is gonna be like, this is gonna be weird. So the effect doesn't cause trouble with the UI. Okay, that's good. Does it cause trouble with anything else in the mod? Like the spectator view or anything? That's kind of interesting. Okay, so I want to say 960 on 5, right? That's going to be like the center of the separator here. And then let's just say, let's say like 2 pixels on every side, right? So -2, and then the Y value is going to be the same as the whole thing, so 635, and then it's the same number but +2, so it's 960 on 5, and then the other Y value is 735, and that's going to be a false. So that should be the separator drawn in between the first 2 buttons. I don't think it should affect the spectator view at all. Okay, cool. Yeah, if there's any weird issues going on, I will do my best to look into it. Okay, there we go. There's the little separator. Okay. Let's draw a bunch more. We actually only need 4. Okay, so this one's gonna be where exactly? 192 plus 192 minus 2. And then the same thing here, but plus 2. Okay. And then we've got 384 plus 192 minus 2. And then the same thing. Plus 2. Yeah. Whoop. And then 576 plus 192 minus 2. And that same number plus 2. Okay. So that should be all the separators. Let's see what happens. There we go. All right, cool. There are all the separators now. Phenomenal. Okay. Let's now attempt to draw an outline. So we can do it here. We don't need to change the color because we want to keep it as black. But let's just say... Let's say var selected color category outline center X. Okay. We want to make brief variable names here. Selected color category outline center X right, and then we want to have a switch. Okay, we're gonna do this. Why does it put the var in there? Why not just like var selected color and then we get rid of the vars in here? Is it gonna undo that when I try and recompile? It does. Okay, that's weird. And then it got rid of my variable. It got rid of my magnificent variable. Okay. So this is going to equal, actually, yeah, I did this in a weird order. Let me go back to network. In what order am I actually storing them? So it's name, outline, body, shell, eye. Outline, body, shell, eye. Okay. Now we'll just keep it this way. We'll keep it as name, and then we swapped shell and eye. So we'll do shell, body, eye. Okay, and then we want to say var selected color category outline center X. What a phenomenal name that is going to be 96. Yeah. 96 for that one. This is going to be 192. This is going to be... No, it's going to be 96 plus 192. That's not 96,192. 96 plus 192. Okay. This is going to be 288 plus 192. Nope. Okay, this is going to be 480 plus 192. 480 plus 192 twice. Okay. So we've got the center that the outlined rectangle should be. So now if we draw a rectangle, let's make it a should it be a rounded rectangle? No, let's just make it a regular rectangle. So we're gonna be at this whole thing minus 96 something, this whole thing plus 96 something true, and these somethings are 635 and 735. Okay, let's see what happens. I keep getting stream glitches like every 45 minutes or so that are really cool looking, and I'm like, that could be an emoji, but then my hands are nowhere near the print screen button and the clips feature doesn't show it. Damn. It's not on my end, is it? Is my stream lagging at all? Or is it just like the video player that's being weird? Did I start the game? I guess not. I feel like if it was on your end, it would show up in clips. I agree, maybe? It depends on how they implemented it. Oof, that is very thin. I mean, it's there technically, but it's very thin. Draw rectangle. Oh, I already have it pulled up. Okay, whether the rectangle is drawn filled in or 1 pixel wide. I don't want it to be 1 pixel wide. I want it to be a thick outline. I'm gonna have to draw the outline on my own. I'm gonna have to manually draw the outline. Draw rectangle. Okay, let's start with the top. Let's start with the top rectangle. So the X is going to be this. The Y is going to be 635. The other X is going to be this. And the Y is going to be 635 plus, we'll say 5, maybe. Okay, that should be the top. Let's do the same thing except 735. So this should be the bottom of it. 735, except instead of plus 5, this should be a minus 5 here. Okay. Now let's do the left and the right. So for the left, the X value is the same there. The Y value is going to be this 635. The other Y value is 735. And then this is just going to be this minus 96 plus 5. Right? And then this one is going to be a -5 there. Get rid of that -5. This is going to be a 635, and this is going to be a plus. I think. Is it going to work like that? I don't know. Let's find out. So there's I just tried to run my hand through my hair again. it's gonna take me a while to get used to that. Okay. There we go. That's a thick outline there. The bottom is not in the correct spot. Which one is responsible for drawing the bottom one? This, I think. Why is that one not working? Do I need to switch? I don't understand why that's not working. Do I need to switch these? Is it 730 to 735 instead of 735 to 730? Maybe? Twitch keeps tripping me up. I keep seeing my chat move, but nobody said anything. Why does that work? What the heck? Whatever, man. Whatever. Okay. I'm actually I'm gonna draw some more of these. So I want to draw one up here that goes these are too wide. It's from 0 to 2, and then I want to do another one down here that goes from 958 to 960. And that should just be like on the far left and right side for the separators. Just because I felt like it looked a little bit weird before without the separators on the far left and right. Okay, that doesn't look like a whole lot better. I have decided that I do not care. Okay. So now we actually have to implement the whole like switching between the selected categories now. Let's see. So where the outline, not the outline, these, not those, these guys. Okay, so we've got 0 to 192, and this is from 6. So we can actually do like a giant if here. Say if GUI mouse Y is less than, say if it's less than 635, or the GUI mouse Y is greater than 735. We know that the mouse is not in that giant strip, so we can just exit here. And now we can process all of these buttons without having to check their Y values. The reason we had to do it before was because these buttons were stacked. But now that they're all on the exact same y value, we don't have to check any of these. Okay. And this was 0, 192, and then we just add 192 every time, right? So this is 0 to 192, 192 to 192 plus 192. That is not how you spell 192. Okay, and then it's 384 plus 192, and this one's just straight up 384. We've got 576 and 576 plus 192. And then 768 plus 192 and just straight up 768. Okay. Let's see what happens. So now what should happen is when I click on one of those 5 buttons that we just set up, it should switch the category. So if I click on shell, you can see it highlights shell. If I click body, it highlights body, eye, outline. Booyah. So now you can select one. Okay. Now, we just need the actual sliders. I think I only changed these 2 files. Yeah. I think that's an okay place to stop. Because I think implementing the sliders is not going to be too much, but I feel like I'm kind of running out of steam here. So let me grab this. That is draw 64. Throw that into there, get rid of that, make sure everything looks good. Yeah, we changed the text player. We changed a bunch of that stuff. Added all that. Added all that. Oh, I see why it's doing that weird thing. Okay. Makes sense. It'll get fixed when we change stuff later. Okay, that looks good. Let's add this. Where's it? Other 10. Okay. What? This one. Okay, yeah, so I got rid of the hitbox for the color picker. And then, yeah, these don't need this prefix here. Change the location of the edit name button. Added this, changed those hitboxes. Okay. Looks good. Remove color picker. Commit. Yes. All right. Think that looks good. Speaking of looking good, that is gonna be it for the stream. I'm not sure if I'm gonna stream tomorrow. Actually, let me double check, because I think I've got something going on tomorrow, but I don't remember what. Oh, I don't actually have anything going on tomorrow. Okay. But I might do some off-stream work, though. So we'll see. Anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here. 700 years, which is unfortunately 3 years longer than my lifespan. When did I say that? Anyway, see you later. Bye-bye. Have a good one.